Welcome back, everyone, to the School of Greatness. Very excited about our guest and the conversation we're about to have. We have Dr. Lisa Miller in the house, and I am excited about this. I've got a quote I want to share from you first before we dive in. This quote you said is, "What if the condition we pathologize and diagnose as depression is sometimes actually spiritual hunger, a normal and genetically derived part of human development that is unhealthy to muffle or deny?" Now, Dr. Lisa, you have a bachelor's degree from Yale, a doctorate from UPenn, and you're a professor of psychology and education at Columbia University. You're also the first scientist to publish a peer-reviewed article on spirituality and mental health in the first 2 decades of human life. I'm so grateful you're here. And I think there is a massive dis-ease within society where depression and mental health is at an all-time high in terms of suffering, sadness, and in a weakened, energetic state for a lot of people. I think specifically a big proportion of our youth. And you talk about a lot of the differences between the awakened brain versus more of a depressed brain. You've been studying this for a long time. You've got science, research, and spiritual practices blended together, which I think is so powerful. And I wanted to ask you first, what is the difference between an awakened brain and a depressed brain? And how can someone who feels the weight of the world, anxiety, depression, ADHD, any of these symptoms, how can they start to transform those symptoms or those feelings or that emotional weight into peace and awakened brain?
So there's half the United States and half of most of the post-industrial world is depressed.
Really?
We have unprecedented supply of food. Mm-hmm. We have unprecedented quality of medical care. We are a very well provided for society, and still our inner life hurts. It hurts. And depression isn't just feeling sad. Depression can be an edginess. A lot of times people are grumpy or hostile. Depression can be this sense of dread creeping up on us and anxiety, like the boogeyman inside. Depression can be not wanting to eat, lying in bed, not having our game on at all. So depression is not just sadness. It's really powering down. And for a very long time, most of the 20th century, people would say, depression, well, we can see that it has biological correlates. We can see that there's correlates in the brain. Depression, that's a medical illness, always and only, uniformly. But over here, there's these people who are religious or they're spiritual and religious. That might be nice for them. But the view in the 20th century in much of mental health was that that's somehow a Band-Aid or a crutch.
Religion or spirituality.
Is somehow a crutch. That is now the outdated, but it was very prevalent for a long time, point of view. What we now know from science is that just as depression has neurocorrelates, our spiritual awareness has neurocorrelates. We can track in the brain the circuits undergirding a transcendent relationship. And that's true no matter what religion you may be, or if you're any religion at all. So whether I'm Hindu or Catholic or Christian or Muslim or Jewish, and spiritual but not religious, the same circuits run as I perceive a deep, sacred, transcendent relationship. I can say I feel a oneness with life. I can feel that nature is my sanctuary. I can say that God or Jesus or Hashem or Allah walks with me. However I understand the transcendent relationship, I'm using my awakened brain. There is one awakened brain. 7.2 billion people on Earth have the same awakened brain.
But why do we suppress our awakened brain?
So very often, depression is not always a medical illness. In fact, as we look 2/3 of the time, depression is not a medical illness. You can track its biological correlates as you can track the spiritual correlates, but that doesn't make it an illness. When you're lifting weights, you can track the biological correlates. That doesn't make it an illness. It's a strength, right? Well, it turns out that depression is actually a hunger for spiritual awakening, at least 2/3 of the time. Why is this happening to me? Why did she leave me? Why did I lose my money? I just feel horrible. Yesterday, everything was fine. That hunger, just like we're hungry for food, we're thirsty, is the body, the mind, the soul, it's all one, body, mind, and soul, screaming for an expanded awareness. Life as I'm living it, life as I'm seeing it, has gotten too small. And just as I grow in height or weight or maturity, or my eyes change as I get older, our spiritual life changes. All of us.